Hey there, fellow knitters. I'm Katie, designer of Light from Lantern knitting patterns and host of the Knit a Spell podcast. Submerging your finished objects into enchanted blocking water is one of the easiest ways to insert charms or intention into your knitting project. It can be done one time when the project is finished as a way to charge it, or it can be done many times anytime you need to block it as a way to recharge the spell. It can also be used as a cleansing method. Let's say it's a project that you got from someone else or from Goodwill or Secondhand. Blocking is a great way to cleanse that energy and make it your own. In fact, there's many reasons why you would use blocking water, but how do we make it? In this video, I'm going to share 5 ways to create magically enchanted blocking water. Any knitter can create these blocking waters, no matter their level of witchery. And let me first start out by saying you can use this water for wet blocking or steam blocking, although those could influence an additional layer of intention if that was something you were looking to include. To learn more about that, check out the magical blocking episode of Knit a Spell. Method number 1 on how to enchant your blocking water is to employ the use of crystals, herbs, and/or oils. These items already have a high frequency due to their nature, so you only need a little bit to be added to the water to get a big impact. If the effects you want are for soothing, adding in a little lavender could do the trick. Or if you want to recharge or cleanse a project, you could put in a crystal quartz into the water, which is a water-safe stone. If the stones you're using are not water-safe, or if you are using perhaps an herb that may dye the water a little bit, you can always use the essence of this by placing the stones and herbs around the bowl and not in the bowl. That way you can use all their energies without having to worry about any accidents. There are so many herbs and oils and crystals that you can employ depending on what your intention is. And that's kind of the main point here, no matter what method you're employing. Having a strong intention will ultimately direct what you're going to use to enchant your blocking water. If method number 1 isn't your style, method number 2 might be for you. My second way that you can enchant your blocking water is through written word. Write your wish or intent down on a piece of paper. Then fold it towards you if you want something to be coming to you, or fold it away from you if it's something that you're looking to send out. Then place that right under your bowl of blocking water and soak your project. While you're doing so, you can even keep saying it in your mind. That will only further energize the water. When you're done, you can choose to bury or burn your intention, and then the water can either go in the ground if it's natural, down the sink if that's safe to do so, or right down the toilet, because how you dispose of things can also add an extra layer of intention. Method number 3 is similar to written word, except it's spoken word or sound. In this case, instead of writing your intention down, you are saying it out loud. Say it over the water at least once, maybe 3 times. Do it however many times you feel called to do so. You could say it once as you are filling the bucket, and then again as you put the project in, and then again as you're pulling it out and wringing it gently out, and then again as you're laying it all out, and then one last time when it's all dry and you pick it up. Or you could employ a tuning fork or another thing that makes sound bowls, other things of that type. I have a 528 hertz tuning fork, which I like to employ the use of. You could even hum along with it if you wanted. Ringing the tuning fork over the water after you've filled it is a great way to energize the water as your project is blocking within it. You could even sing or play music as your sound. Get creative, and whatever you think of is probably the right answer. Method number 4 is designing a sigil. Sigils are symbols that hold specific meaning to people that know what it is. There are many ways to design a sigil, depending on what your intention is. I even did an episode of Knit a Spell that described some of them. We did a little demo, you can check it out. It's important to have fun with it while you're designing it, and again, knowing it doesn't have to be perfect. In a lot of cases, no one even is going to see it other than you. So once you have it all designed, it can be written down on paper and placed under the water bowl, much like the written intention, or you could use your finger to draw it over the water once the bowl is filled and do the sigil there without even writing it down at all. It could just be visualized in your mind, and then your finger does the writing. You could choose to do that while the project's in the bowl soaking, or when it's about to come out or just gone in. As many times as you'd like, you can figure out a system that works best for you. And if you don't want to design your own sigil, Explore the internet to see what sorts of symbols ring true for your intent. If your intention is all about bringing love into the piece, perhaps your sigil is just a bunch of heart shapes. It doesn't have to be that difficult, and it can certainly be playful. My fifth and final method on how to create your own enchanted blocking water is by using the energy of the moon. There are many cosmic sources that we could use the energy of. However, the moon is right there and one that we often like to use. And to make this super easy, we're just going to use 4 phases: the new moon or the dark moon, the waning moon, the full moon, and the waxing moon. The waning moon is getting towards the full moon, so it's building, and then the waxing moon is depleting towards the new moon, so it's getting less. Your intention for what you want your blocking water to be will ultimately help you choose which phase of the moon to work with. If it's something you're starting, typically the new moon is where people go. Let's say this is a baby blanket, you might want to work with the new moon because it's a little seed baby, it's just beginning life and it's growing in. Or if it's a wish cowl that you're trying to get abundance in, you might want to work with the power of the waning moon, which is building towards abundance and bringing it in. If you want something to be finishing and have a big impact, working with the full moon is for you. In fact, if you only have one phase to work with, the full moon is kind of like the crystal quartz of energy, at least in my mind. It can be used for so much. And if you're looking to finish things, remove things, take things away, you'll want to work with the waxing moon, which is going away back towards the new moon. So if you think about it, the phases of the moon make sense to how you might want to use them magically. To make these moon waters, it's quite simple. Fill up a mason jar or container of water, put a lid on it. Leave it outside or on a windowsill overnight in the corresponding phase of the moon. Don't fret if it's cloudy, it still works. The next day, you have your moon water. And even if you only make a small batch of it, you can add it to a larger amount of water and the whole thing will contain that same energy. It does not dilute. Water's water. This is something I learned from Lilith Dorsey, our water witch friend who I interviewed on Knitispell. This is why you can also just save a little bit of it and put the date on it in case you want to squirrel it away for a future use. You know you'll have a little bit of that water without having to wait for that specific phase of the moon to come around. And all you have to do is add a little drop to a much larger basin of water, and then it all becomes that. So you always have a large supply of it, even if you only have a little bit. And you can keep refilling the little one because again, that just makes more water. So you never have to run out unless you just don't remember to refill it. Water is metaphysically related to emotion for a reason. Just acting an emotion to water can drastically change its molecules. If you're interested in learning more about that, I highly recommend The Hidden Messages in Water, a fantastic book that absolutely shows the correlation between energy and water. And since we are mostly water, it's very important to see how energy affects that and us. But wait, Katie, what about the blocking water when you're done? You have a couple of options. If the intention is to remove something, you might want to flush it down the toilet like I mentioned earlier. If the intention was to make something grow, you might want to use this water to water your plants. Or if you know this is an intention you plan to recharge time and time again, save some of that initial blocking water. Remember, we just talked about how you can make it over and over again just by putting a little bit into a larger basin. Why make the blocking water again when you've already made it once if you know you're going to make it again in the future? Time saver! Have you created enchanted blocking water in any of these ways before? Or maybe you have your own way. Please share it in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you enjoy this type of content, feel free to subscribe to my channel. It's a free way to support my work. Thanks so much for watching. Merry Make!